Hi there. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you doing today? Our guests don't look very happy, do they?
Y'all need some? Y'all need payment before y'all do y'all's interview?
Do you need payment for the interview? What kind of payment would you like? Would you like some treats? Oh, you looked real fast, didn't you?
What kind of interview you gonna give us first? We get some treats.
I know, what kind of interview you want? That doesn't look like a very good interview, Tibby. Alright, thanks guys. Thanks for being great guests. Okay, see you later. Hi people. It's been a long time, hasn't it? I'm very sorry. I'm so sorry I've left you guys high and dry for the last 3 months. The last update was after 3 weeks and we're currently at almost 4 months out. I'm 2 days shy of being 4 months out because it's April 2nd. So a lot has happened in that time frame. I want to get as much information out there as I can. I just have been really busy. I have 12 weddings that I can think of off the top of my head that I'm attending, 3 of which I'm a part of. Being back at work has been crazy, trying to get adjusted to normal life. So I'm very, very sorry that I've missed out on updating you guys. I promise I've tried almost once a week, but I'll start the video and something will make me decide to scrap it, and here we are 4 months later. But since I am currently obsessed with HQ Trivia, it's an app that you can download on your phone. If you haven't downloaded it, download it. It's very fun. You get free money if you answer the questions right, and use my referral code. And my name is Terie with 3 E's at the end because it'll give me an extra life, and that way maybe I'll win one day, because I try twice a day during weekdays, and every weekend I literally stop my life to play that game, and I still haven't won. Even though I Google everything, I would have thought all my random facts and Google knowledge would have helped me win by now, but no. I've gotten very close. I've gotten to the last question twice now, but still have not won. So, download the game, use my referral code, Terie, and help me win. But I figured it would be fun to kind of do it in a HQ format with the 12 questions that they ask you, just to kind of speed through it as much as I can. So, in the words of Scott Rogowski, the quiz master, the quiz Khalifa of HQ, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Q1, how was your recovery? My recovery has been up and down. The first 2 months were the hardest. The 2 months after have been a little bit easier. I had 3 weeks of rest before I went back to work. Those 3 weeks were spent resting, trying to get used to the incisions, which weren't too bad. They've healed up okay. They are kind of dark. The scars are still there, so I do need suggestions on what I can use to get to minimize the scars as much as I can. I don't think at this point I can get rid of them, but minimizing them would be great because they are still very apparent. The incision pain was not as bad as I thought it was. I did not take any painkillers after the day I got home from work, or not from work, but from surgery, so it wasn't that necessary. So the pain is very tolerable. I have been very fortunate in that sense that I haven't needed the painkillers, but getting back to regular life was pretty difficult. Walking was hard for the first couple of weeks because of the incisions. It just felt like it was pulling, but once they removed the incisions, it didn't feel bad at all. It was just like quick pinches. I think I might have talked about that in my last video. I don't know, but I'll remind you again. They just felt like quick pinches once they took out the staples. There's 2 staples in each incision. There were 6 incisions. One was a little drainy for a little bit, but not too bad. Going back to work afterwards was kind of difficult because sitting for too long, I felt like it was smushing my stomach in, so I had to get a doctor's note and get a standing desk, which helped for a little bit. Standing stretches it out, you know, so it didn't feel like it was so mushed down. I haven't used my standing desk though since like the last 2 months, so now I don't have that issue anymore. Q2, what were some complications that you faced after the surgery? Some complications that I've faced with or had faced was one, the biggest one was the stricture. Turns out that after my 1 month follow-up, I was still telling my doctor about how I was still throwing up. It was still hard to keep some foods down because I was cleared to take soft foods, so I was able to do applesauce and avocado and mashed potatoes, but it was very hard to keep all of that down. I was throwing up all the time, sick all the time, took a lot of sick days off of work. I used up almost all of my sick days that I'm allowed at work just in that first month of being back because I could not keep any food down, and throwing up made me feel so exhausted and so just that I just didn't think that going to work was a good idea, so I had to stay home a lot and try to get myself back together. So it wasn't until my first month post-op meeting with my doctor or my surgeon that she found, because she scheduled me for an EGD right after that follow-up, scheduled the EGD, found that I had a stricture. And if you're not familiar with what a stricture is, it is when the passageway from your esophagus to your stomach is very narrow, and it can happen because your scar tissue grew back too fast, which is what happened with mine. I think it's probably because I was taking a generic brand of acid blocker. I could be wrong. I'm not a doctor. Don't quote me. I just feel like that's what it is, because ever since I stopped taking my acid blocker, which was not the Dexilent like most people are prescribed, it was an off-brand because my insurance would not cover the Dexilent. And so I honestly think that's what made my scar tissue grow back so fast, that it reduced my esophagus passage to 5 millimeters. So you could imagine 5 millimeters is not very big. So eating anything was difficult because it would just get stuck here in my chest. And so I always felt the need to throw up afterwards. And it was not fun. But for the stricture, what they did was go in and do the dilation. So what a dilation is pretty much just like an EGD. But instead of just going in with the scope, they have a little balloon attached to the bottom of that scope. And they pump it out to try to build this balloon to try to stretch open that stricture. So my surgeon, the very first time went in, was able to get me from 5 millimeters to 7 millimeters, which the first one did not hurt. The second one we did was 2 weeks after, in which I had to go back to liquid diet, completely liquid diet, because they didn't want my stomach to work too hard. And the second dilation, she moved me from 7 millimeters to 8 millimeters. And at that point, she decided she was going to send me to a specialist because she wasn't comfortable going in and doing it again and having the risk of tearing any of my staple linings and anything like that. So I went to a specialist, which again was another 2 weeks of liquid diet. Saw the specialist, and he was able to get me from 8 millimeters to 12 millimeters, even though the goal is to get me to 16 millimeters. So I was actually scheduled to have a fourth dilation, but the specialist decided that it wasn't necessary. So I haven't had that, but I'm sure I probably will sooner or later. But I am able to eat food again, so that is okay. I'm totally okay with that. And so that was the biggest complication. The second complication was trying to find things that didn't have sugar or caffeine in it, because I was very nervous about getting dumping syndrome. And the third complication was definitely just trying to appease the cravings that I had, because I still have them. I'm still hungry all the time, contrary to what other people have said about how they don't ever feel hungry and have to remind themselves to eat. I am still always hungry, and I'm still always craving things. So that's been difficult to deal with as well. But for the most part, those are the main three. Everything else has been fairly easy. I think I've been very fortunate to not have so many symptoms. I luckily haven't had, to deal with dehydration too much. I think what helped though was the dilations, because every time I went for the dilations, of course, they had to have the IV in me and all of that. So I think that helped with the dehydration, because it was possible that I was on the brink of it, because I do not get enough liquids in as I'm supposed to. I'm still struggling with that. And the same thing with my protein and my vitamins. I'm still struggling with that, but so far I haven't had too many issues. Oh, speaking of that, so the protein and the vitamin, another complication is that my hands go numb a lot. My arms go numb. And my doctor says that it's because of the vitamin deficiencies. I definitely need to up that. And Q3, how are my eating habits now? My eating habits have improved greatly since before the surgery. I still can only eat tiny, minuscule amounts of food, but at least I can eat foods that I do like, so that my body is craving vegetables all the time. I wanted a salad so bad during my whole liquid diet. I just wanted to use my teeth, because I did the liquid diet basically for 9 weeks. And yeah, basically almost 3 months, because I've just started to eat food, solid foods, last month around March, like the beginning of March. End of February, beginning of March. It was 9 weeks though, for sure. I counted that more. At that part I did count, even though time has flown by. But I just always want vegetables. I love anything pickled right now. So pickles, kimchi, I'm just always craving them. I don't know why. I just really like the pickly taste right now. And as long as I chew very well, everything has been pretty good. The only thing I found that I definitely can't eat right now is chicken, which is weird because I was able to eat chicken just fine, you know, last month. But then recently, every time I eat chicken, I throw up my life. So I haven't been able to eat chicken. The very first food that I ate was avocado, or the very first like soft food I ate was avocado, and I had a really weird reaction to that. So with that reaction, I had like the cold sweat, I had like my nose was sweating, I got really dizzy and I felt tired. So that happened. So I was scared to try avocado, but I did try guacamole recently and I was able to keep that down. And so it's crazy how fast your stomach changes its mind, because at first one day you can eat it, the next day you can't, but that's what the experimenting is for. So you just kind of have to put yourself through it. I won't do it when I'm at work, so I pretty much stick to the same things at work, but I will try when I get home, just because I'm at home and it's easier for me that if I do have a reaction, I can just lay down or whatever it is and sleep it off, because that is my solution to everything, is sleep it off. And I did find in the beginning that after I ate, I did go to sleep. I don't know if it was just because I was so exhausted from eating, or my stomach was overworking itself, but every time I ate, I knocked out right away, like food coma times 100. So that has definitely improved though. I do still get sleepy, but I just don't knock out as fast as I did in the first 2 months of not being able to eat, even though it was all liquid diet. So then the fourth question, can you work out now? I can. I was actually just cleared by my doctor recently because I was really nervous to work out, only because I didn't feel like I was getting my nutritional value in. I wasn't getting enough water in. I wasn't getting enough food in. So I didn't want to pass out at the gym because I was so weak from whatever it was of just not being able to eat, not being able to drink. So I've definitely held off, but after my 3-month follow-up, my doctor said that I'm completely clear. I can start working out again, which I have been. So I went to the gym. I was so excited to go to the gym. I'm still excited to go to the gym. It just feels good to be back in it. I am noticing my loose skin, so I definitely want to tone it up. I definitely have loose skin around my arms. Not as bad as I thought they would be, but I am losing weight definitely in my chest. My boobs are a lot smaller than they used to be. All of my bras are ridiculously big. My stomach's toned down a lot. So all of my clothes are super baggy, which I think I already talked about, so I won't say that again. But working out has felt great. It is crazy how much easier it is when you don't have so much weight on top of you to hold you down. So my doctor though gave me an interesting tidbit. During my stress test, they found that my target area for fat burning is around 88 to 98 beats per minute. Kind of like when you do Orange Theory, they want you to get to the orange zone. That's when your fat burning is really happening. So mine is low. Mine's at 88 to 98, so I don't have to go too hard. So I just do some walking. I usually do the treadmill. I'm on the 3 miles per hour speed. Not too fast, not too slow. Well, still pretty slow, but not too fast for sure, because that already gets my heart rate up. I did that, and I did some weights, and it's a lot easier. It doesn't feel as heavy, and stretching even doesn't feel that heavy. So it's been really nice to be back in the gym to work out again. And I used to think Planet Fitness was like terrible, but I think it's great. I'm so surprised at how clean and sanitary, and the judgment-free zone is awesome at Planet Fitness. So I am definitely all for Planet Fitness now. I used to be a 24-hour fitness member. Other than missing the sauna or the group classes that 24 offers, I really do like Planet Fitness. So if you're looking for gyms, I highly recommend it. It's a lot cheaper. You can bring a friend. And I love that they can bring friends, because I actually haven't paid for a gym membership yet. Only because I was scared. I didn't know how my body would feel about going to the gym. And so I've been going with some family members, or Tim's family members. I've been going with them, and it has been really great. And I've been going to the gym at work every now and then. So it feels a lot better. My muscles are feeling way more sore than they did before. I did like 20 squats, only 20 squats the Friday before I went to a wedding last Saturday, and my thighs burned for a week, as opposed to just like the second day sore. They hurt for about a week. But it was a good sore. It was a good feeling, because at least I knew it was working, and I am pretty revved up about it, and I'm excited to continue working out. Excited to see how much faster the weight will fall off incorporating workouts in with the dieting or my food habits now. So that's fun. Working out is great. I am actually enjoying it, which I never thought I would, but it also helps that I have 66 pounds not weighing me down, especially in my chest area. So then question 5, how am I getting my protein in? My protein has always been a difficult thing for me. It's disgusting. I still can't do the Premier protein shakes. I definitely am lactose intolerant now. I cannot do milk that well. My stomach always bubbles afterwards. I always feel sick afterwards. So I have found these nifty things called the New Whey protein shots, which was suggested to me by a friend. Works out all the time, so she's the one that gave me the tip. But it's a protein shot, so it's not that big. The tube is about this big. It's 3 ounces. The flavors I got were orange, fruit punch, acai berry, and watermelon. The only one I've tried so far is fruit punch. And I mean, they're not the greatest tasting things. Protein is never going to taste great, but at least it's a smaller dose. And that one has 42 grams of protein in it. So pretty much almost half my protein intake for the day in just that 3-ounce bottle. So I take quick gulps of it, drink some water, and I'm good to go. So I am definitely appreciating that now. So if you're looking for a way for protein, I definitely suggest that, because then it doesn't feel like you have to take this thick milkshake or whatever it is. It's just 3 gulps. And if you could do shots of alcohol, this is nothing. I never really drank before, so it's still a little difficult for me, but for those of you that did drink before, this is nothing. The flavor is super quick, it's light, you can taste the proteiny aspect of it, but it does taste like fruit punch or acai berry. The acai berry is very sweet, so I haven't really had that one. I hate orange, so I haven't tried that one. But the fruit punch as of right now is definitely very good. So I highly suggest going to get that if you're still having issues getting in your protein. Question 6 would be, what vitamins do you take? So in the beginning, I was just taking a GNC multivitamin, and I think that that's helped with my hair because they had a biotin in it, which I know you're not supposed to take, but I just took it was sugar-free, a chewable multivitamin, and I just needed to get something in because although I am losing hair, I'm not losing as much as other people made it seem like. But I think having that biotin and the multivitamin helped. And now I've moved on to a bariatric vitamin gummy, because now that my doctor cleared me, there's 2 grams of sugar in it, but it is a lot easier to take. It does just taste like a gummy worm or something. So it's definitely much easier. The taste is not nearly as bad. And I got that one on Amazon for about $22, I think, for 90 little gummies. And then the GNC multivitamin was about $30 for 90 chewables. But the chewables taste like a strawberry Starburst or something. So it's not bad, minus the aftertaste of the. Question 7 is, how were my emotions throughout all of this? They have been all over the place. I cried in the middle of shopping for the first time for a bachelorette party, because I noticed how much my size had changed, and I was just so overwhelmed and couldn't believe that it happened. I am still very anxious about this because I just keep wanting to see what's going to happen, if this is going to get me better, if I will ever be able to eat and not have to feel like I need to throw up every time. But I think my biggest one is the insecurity that I feel. I think I feel it more so now than I did when I was big, only because I feel like people are paying attention to me now. Before, I was able to kind of hide in the background. Nobody really paid attention to the big girl, which was good for me because I didn't like the limelight, even though I do these YouTube videos. But that, I think, is the hardest thing for me. So when I hear the compliments, when I get the, oh, you look great, yada, 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 it makes me feel insecure, because it's kind of like, well, I thought I looked great before. And you know, is it now that I'm skinny all of a sudden I look great or whatever? And it's just those dumb little thoughts that you have in your head, but it's just the emotions that I feel, and I'm always going to feel that way. You know, everybody was like, you know, you're doing great, I'm so proud of you, blah blah. And for me, I feel like it's really not anything to be proud of, because, you know, I cut my stomach, so of course I'm going to lose weight. I didn't have solid food for 9 weeks, of course I'm going to lose weight. So there really wasn't work put in on my part other than making myself not eat those things or force myself to still eat even though it was uncomfortable. But my body told me what I could and could not do, and in that sense it was my body that worked, not me. Because mentally I am still hungry, contrary to what other people have said. I still feel hungry all the time. I still have cravings all the time. So the only work that I've put in is basically saying no to the bad things that I used to say yes to all the time back then. But work-wise, I really didn't put in the work, other than starting as of like recently, now that I'm working out and stuff. Now I feel like I'm putting in work, and now I feel like I'm actually doing something instead of just sitting around and having the weight melt off. So those are some of my emotions there. But overall, I'm happy. I'm happy I can eat. I'm happy I can be in social settings without people feeling sorry that they are eating in front of me. And I don't need someone to hold my hand to get me in and out of the car. I can drive myself. I can get to work. You know, so I do feel a lot better in that sense. And I am definitely much more confident too. So it's weird. It's kind of funny that I'm insecure but confident, but it's in two different levels. So my confidence comes from the fact that I can take selfies now and be proud of them and feel good about myself without noticing the double chin or, you know, my stomach protruding or my muffin top sticking out or anything like that. It's, you know, I just see myself and I'm like, I look great, and there's nothing I feel like I need to fix about myself, which is very refreshing to finally feel that way. But at the same time be insecure because I feel like everyone's looking at me and are waiting to see my progress and wanting to see this and that and how I do. So it's a mix, but it's a good balance. Back then, you know, 2 months after the surgery, I was feeling very disappointed, very regretful, very sad, just all the emotions, just all the negative emotions, because my buyer's remorse was so real. And the reason for that is because I felt like there were things I could have done better, just naturally, just had more willpower, or started these little habits that I have to force myself to do now, otherwise I'll feel consequences from my body. If I had just done that, I could have done the same thing. Granted, I may not have melted off 66 pounds so easily, but at least something would have melted off and would have jump-started me and motivated me to keep going. So with that said, what is some advice that I have for those that are thinking about it? My advice would be to do the liquid diet first. Do it for a week, see how you do. That is very important. If you can get through that week-long diet, then you have the potential to go through this surgery fairly easily, because I think that's the biggest thing, is the dieting and forcing yourself to realize how small your portions really are going to be after this surgery. And in addition to that, into doing the 1 week liquid diet, at least 1 week. Some people have to do it like for 2 weeks before surgery, but just do at least 1 week. And then after that, my advice would be, if you know, do the 1 week long liquid diet and you think you're fine, I would also just try to incorporate small habits. Like if you drink a lot of soda, give up the soda, you know, just for a week, because it'll kickstart you and you'll realize you don't need the soda and you can go ahead and continue to go without soda. Or, you know, give up some sugars, because I read the labels on everything now. I have to read it. I have to know how much sugar is in there. I have to know how much fat is in there. I have to know how many calories it is, just for my own sake, because I want to make sure that what I'm eating is worth it. I do what I would have done had I done this naturally, where I give myself like 1 or 2 cheat days where I can just eat what I want to eat and not have to worry about what the label says, other than how much sugar is in there, because I still have definitely kept away from sugar. What are some tips that I would give to anyone thinking about doing the surgery? Same thing as what I said earlier about the advice, but in addition to that, my tips would be, if you do crave like sparkling water or something like I did, my Timothy's cousin taught me this, but if you just flatten whatever drink it was that has no sugar or caffeine in it, you can flatten the soda by mixing it back and forth in cups and then just getting all of that air bubble out. Then you can have that flavor without the consequences. Definitely no straws. I have used a straw one time on accident and immediately felt the effects of drinking out of a straw. I threw up right away because of the air bubbles that I guess had swallowed without realizing it. And then on top of that, another tip that I would suggest is to start off these little habits, do them once or twice or 3 times or 4 times or 5 times, and it'll form a habit, you know, for yourself. Then you can decide if you think that the surgery will still be worth it or not. What are some of the must-haves after surgery? The must-haves that have saved me after the surgery is definitely, 1, the pregnancy pillow, the U-shaped full pregnancy pillow, because that has definitely been a godsend. Because for a while there, I couldn't sleep on the side because I could feel my stomach just shifting down. But having that pregnancy pillow and having that cushion to set my stomach on definitely helped. And in addition to that, it has helped me sleep on my back. So one, I haven't snored as much anymore because I used to sleep face down, so my back does feel a lot better. And my neck is propped up with the U pillow, so my passageway is a little bit more open, so I don't snore nearly as loud as I used to. And then a cushion seat. A cushion seat was definitely very vital for me because my tailbone hurt so bad every time I sat down. And having that cushion seat definitely helped. And these are the things I bought on Amazon, so feel free to go to Amazon. Everything was under 20-30 bucks. The pregnancy pillow, it was given to me as a Christmas gift, so I can't really speak on that and how much that costs, but it's definitely vital. I would definitely get one if I were you. A timer is also very helpful. So if you don't have a timer app on your phone, I would download it, because the not eating and drinking 30 minutes within each other was very difficult for me. I think it's actually another one of my complications actually that I should have added to that one. But not being able to eat and drink at the same time is very hard for me. But having the timer time 30 minutes from right after I take my last bite or right after I take my last sip, having that timer go off definitely keeps me in line, because again, I did learn the hard way that after I drank, after I ate, I felt really full, felt really sick, threw up right away. So that timer is very essential to me as well. Everyone that I go out to eat with knows as soon as I take my last bite, I set my timer, and some have also had to wait with me for 30 minutes so that I could drink, because I want to drink, but I don't want to leave until I get to drink. So thank you to those that have sat with me and waited out my 30 minutes so that I could have my sip of water before we left. Sweaters were also very vital for me. Granted, it's winter, or it was winter, but I'm always cold now, no matter what. I have heard that that was going to be an issue, you know, because of the blood flow and everything. You're always going to feel cold after surgery, so I'm definitely cold all the time, so I definitely always need some kind of sweater cover up. My biggest, most essential thing that I've had the last 4 months is Starbucks Passion Tea. It's an herbal tea, there's no caffeine, and I always get it with no sugar. But it's definitely way more tasty for me than having just plain water, and it has saved me, because there were times where I literally could not eat or couldn't do anything, and all I wanted was the Starbucks Passion Tea, and that's helped me get my fluids in. So I always get a venti Starbucks Passion no sugar tea, and that has saved my life, and it's delicious. I know it's weird to not have the sugar in it, so it's a little sour, but again, I crave everything sour, pickles. So yeah, those are the questions and answers. Hopefully I went through them pretty quickly, but if you have any other questions, definitely feel free to ask. I am more than happy to answer anything you might want to know, and I will definitely try to make the effort to post more updates and record more of just my daily life, take you on some of the adventures I'm going on now that I am busier and do have all these weddings. I definitely do want to do that as well, just so you guys can see. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. But thank you so much, as always. Thank you all for your love and support. Thank you to those that continue to push me and continue to keep my mind on the right track and keep me in check, keep me accountable. I definitely could not have done this without you guys, and knowing that you guys are supporting me and rooting for me definitely helps push me through. I will try to think of some more interesting topics to talk about next time. Maybe not so much just updates, but just some of the emotions that I went through, whatever. So stay tuned for all that, and I will see you guys hopefully not in the next 4 months, and less than that. But I do have the wedding that I'm a part of coming up this week, and my brother will be in town, and he's a videographer, so that might be fun. Maybe I can ask him to do some video or something, and maybe take more pictures, my progress pictures and all that. Ugh, I'm rambling again. Whatever. Bye.